Welcome to my free intro class on helping your neurodivergent child and you gain confidence by learning to ask the right questions. Now, I know that you've probably already been scouring the internet for answers to how to help your child regulate, get through transitions, how to help you and your child stay calm, for maybe answers on why you're seeing kids who are irritable, who can't seem to stop moving, or maybe who are struggling in school. You're probably here because you've already done a lot of work and you really need to have some more support. So, my goal in this class is not to just give you a few tips and tricks because you can easily find those online, but I'm actually here to help teach you how to think so that you can approach each new transition and challenge with more confidence. So let's get started. Because I practice as a therapist from a play based and neurorelational framework, in this educational content, we're also going to focus on the child's particular nervous system, their relational needs, and individual differences. We're going to talk about your child's perception of safety, how safe they feel in their body throughout the day. We're going to talk about specific physical needs and differences that your child might be experiencing, basically, teach you how to identify that and get you a framework for seeing your child in a new way, a way that leads you in a direction for solutions that are actually sustainable. So, this class is super simple. It just includes two steps for increased confidence. Step one is going to be recognizing your own fears as a parent. And step two is just going to be identifying patterns throughout the day by asking these three questions. Let's jump into step one. Recognizing your own fears. I found as a parent of a neurodivergent kid and as a therapist in all my work with parents, a lot of our difficulties in regulation for ourselves as parents come from a lot of inner fears that we have because we really want our kids to be okay. And when it feels like they're not, that awakens some of our fears. An example that I use would be, let's say my kid wakes up in the middle of the night. Thoughts that I might have, especially if this is a pattern, is he's never going to go back to sleep. I'll be up all night. He's going to have a horrible day tomorrow. My work life balance that never existed in the first place is now completely tanked. And then here I go. My brain is now spiraling. And then he'll struggle like this forever. And what if he's like this when he's 25 years old? And what if I'm harming him? And what if it's my fault? Right? Any of this sound familiar to you? If we really slow down these experiences when our, blood pressure starts to rise, let's say our kid's having a hard time getting out the door, we get a call from the school, things like that, pause and ask yourself, what are my fears? If you can identify which of those fears are rational, and which of them are very much based in the moment, you're going to have a better idea of what to do next, right? So I might be able to identify, okay, he's probably going through a developmental phase. He's probably not going to be like this when he's 25 years old. I can figure out why he's up. I can be calm. I can find a way to help him feel better. And guess what? Things are going to be okay. So, again, you may be at a place right now where you don't have all the answers yet. And this is, again, just a short intro course, so I can't give you all of those answers. And especially you have your own individual child. So there's a lot more to do. But if you can just start by identifying your fears, you're on your way to helping yourself feel a little more calm and getting some answers with what's going on with your kid. Step two, identifying patterns by asking these three questions. Now, this is what I mean when I say I want to teach you how to think and how to approach tough situations. I don't want to just give you scripts. So, if you start to feel confident that, sure, you don't have all the answers, but you're asking the right questions that lead you to supporting your child, that's where the real confidence comes in. Okay. So, here are some questions that I would want you to ask and learn to ask regularly anytime things start to go a little bit off or you're noticing, hey, it's time to do homework and my kid's refusing. What's going on? So start with these questions. First, what does my child's body tell me about how safe they feel right now? Right? And so I have a chart that you can use later that can help you identify safety cues that your child's body might be showing you. I go into this in more depth in the NeuroPerfect Connection course as well. But looking at your child's body using the polyvagal chart that I'm going to share with you, or kind of jumping in if you want to jump in to learn more details in my course, But we're going to look at, are they tense? Are they uptight? Are their eyes squinty, right? Are they feeling anxious or scared? Are they angry? How safe are they feeling right now? Alternatively, are they slumped over? Are they shut down? How are they feeling, right? Take a moment and pause. Next question, what just happened in their environment, right? Um, did a peer, a friend or a sibling do something that may have upset them? Did they just get home from school and they've been holding it together all day and they're about to fall apart? Did somebody say something that might have been a trigger for them, right? Just look around. What just happened in their environment? Are we going out the door and are transitions typically hard for them, right? Or there's a good one here of like, is school tomorrow, right? Is it Sunday evening? And they're just starting to think like, oh no, I'm not ready. Just asking that question will help give you some insight and help you have the confidence to figure out what your kid needs next. I'll give you the specifics for using HALT as well, but that's just asking, is my child hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, right? What is their body needing right now? And then the other questions that you can kind of tack on here is what usually helps when my child's like this, or what usually makes it worse. For example, one I had to learn with one of my own kids that it actually makes it worse when I keep trying to solve the problem verbally, and when I don't let him retreat and take space in his room, right? That actually just escalates things. So let's say he throws something, I'm ready to kind of invoke a consequence for that. But if I try to pursue it at that moment, it will just get worse. And so it's time to allow that kiddo to take space and then let him come back and we can problem solve afterwards. So knowing what makes it worse and coming up with a plan is actually really helpful too. And so I just want to invite you to ask these questions and allow yourself to give honest answers, even if the answers shift you towards parenting a little bit differently than you think is the correct way or the way that the world is telling you to. Because again, this comes with parenting a neurodivergent child is you do end up having to do things differently. And that's actually going to end up being really good for you and your kid. All right, so I mentioned two resources today that can be helpful. One of them is to use HALT, and that's just that constant question of, is my child hungry, angry, lonely, tired? You can add other questions in there too. It's just a really easy acronym to remember, hey, what do they need right now? Do we need to have a snack before we push them to do homework? And then, bonus side note, ask yourself that question too, right? If you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired, maybe it's not time to push either. Maybe you need to get yourself feeling regulated and then you guys can do some problem solving. And then finally, here I have this example of what's called the polyvagal chart, and it's giving you just some clues as to what state your child's in, right? So we have that green zone, that social engagement zone, and you're going to see a lot more openness. In this chart, it's kind of giving you just a few feelings that you might have: rage, anger, frustration. There's some other charts you can find out there too if you search, and I'll include one, a link in this as well to one that includes what it actually looks like in your child's body if they're in one of these states. And that can be really helpful for you in just starting to identify, what do they need and what do we need to do to get them back into that social engagement green zone. All right, thank you so much. If you ever need anything, please feel free to reach out to me. And I look forward to connecting with you perhaps in another course.